Good evening, everyone. We'll get started. Thanks for joining us for another celebration of our 35th anniversary. We've been doing that really since January, our first speaker event, kind of using that as branding and in a sense, doing our events a bit bigger than we would otherwise perhaps, bringing more people back, doing things like this that we wouldn't do every year quite in this way. And it really typified for me last night. We had our law school alumni awards, and 2 of the award winners out of 4 were from the sports law program. One who got here when I was a student back in 1993, and now many of you know Greg Heller with the Atlanta Braves. So he was here at a time we didn't have a certificate. We didn't really have a sports law program, though the 5 or 6 of us that were doing something probably thought we did. Had a few classes, had a few internships, things like that. And then ended, for me also, the award began, it was our sports law alumnus of the year, who you'll meet more later, Carrie Sabula, who was here after we created the certificate, started to create a program, really started to get further than that. So tonight we're kind of starting with a small sort of remembrance on that, celebrating this 35 years, which some of us right here, have been around for most of those 35 years. I asked Professor Jim Gray from the class of 1990 to come back and kind of talk about that experience of he was a student here when the Institute was formed. Then he became the first employee really as the first assistant director and give that perspective on what it meant to create the Institute, because many of you are here because of it, and many of you are here to be part of it. So I think it was important to start with that. Jim was also probably the first person I met because Marty Greenberg wasn't available. So I went and met Jim, so it's a perfect kind of bringing back to the beginning for me. So I'm going to turn it over to Professor Gray. Jim.
Thank you, Paul. My name is James Gray. I'm a 1990 graduate of Marquette University Law School, and currently I serve as a professor at Marian University based in Fond du Lac, where I'm the Sports and Recreation Management Program Director. I'd like to share a story with respect to the National Sports Law Institute that includes 3 themes: that of inspiration, choice, and the pursuit of excellence. But before I share the NSLI story of inspiration, choice, and the pursuit of excellence, please note that I'll focus my commentary relative to the early years, from 1989 to 1997. Further, I have intentionally omitted the names of specific individuals because, by my count, there were at least 100 people who had shaped, guided, and nurtured the NSLI during this time of inspiration, choice, and the pursuit of excellence. I'd like to direct your attention to the state of Marquette University Law School 35 years ago. Marquette is a wonderful law school, and 35 years ago, it was no different. As always, it was filled with dedicated professors and striving students. Times were good. Tuition was reasonable. Jobs were available. Being a Marquette lawyer meant one served clients effectively, possessed a great sense of ethics, and willingly engaged in ongoing improvement of self and that of community. Things were going along smoothly. Maintain the status quo was the order of the day. Yet those of the NSLI asked, was there something more? The answer was an emphatic yes. What was it? It was excellence in sports law education. It was recognized by those establishing the NSLI that the time to embrace effective change is when times are thought of as good rather than during times of enduring crises. However, to the outside world, the following challenges were regularly put forward during the late 1980s and early 1990s. Sports law in Milwaukee? At Marquette? Really? Let me share with you and direct your attention to the state of sports law education 35 years ago. Simultaneously, 35 years ago, anything related to sport-based education was manifestly suspect. The primary objection from the Academy with respect to any study of sports issues, whether it involved the law, management, ethics, and medicine, was the utter disbelief and sometimes outright hostility towards academically rigorous sports-based learning and education. In some, many assumed the study of sports law as no more than a discussion of socks and jocks. This reaction was stunning. It was so patently hostile that nationally, some of my brethren were startled to have their sports law courses condemned as praiseworthy as compared to credit-worthy. Despite the naysayers, at the time of its founding in 1989, the NSLI became the first academically based sports law program anywhere in the world. Being the first bestows challenges and confers opportunities. Let me share with you the NSLI's pursuit of excellence. Excellence, by definition, requires continued deviance from the norm and is at times painful as well as isolating. Excellence occurs because one is accomplishing things that most members of society refuse to do. With respect to the pursuit of excellence, I now share several noteworthy achievements. First, a total of $500,000 was raised from the Milwaukee Admirals, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Green Bay Packers, and Miller Brewing Company. This was nothing short of a miracle, where fiscally conservative Milwaukee and Wisconsin invested in the dream along with the promise of sports law education. With the financial backing during the first few years of the NSLI's existence, several milestones were realized, including the initial publication of the Marquette Sports Law Journal, now known as the Marquette Sports Law Review, in 1990. This marked the first time in legal history that a law review was entirely dedicated to sports law scholarship. Similarly, the NSLI's bi-monthly newsletter, For the Record, addressed the sports law issues of the day with contributions from prominent sports industry professionals and leaders. The quarterly For the Record Extra was the NSLI's primary education and networking mechanism for those within the sports media. The NSLI's pioneering interdisciplinary approach to high school sports and risk management, known as Reduce Your Risk, was created to protect the health and safety of high school athletes and minimize the legal liability for school districts within the greater Milwaukee area. The publication of two books, the first entitled Sports Law Practice and second, The Stadium Game, was published. Sports Law Practice was a practitioners-based book with forms to help attorneys negotiate professional player contracts as well as endorsement agreements. The Stadium Game was a how-to publication to help cities, states, teams, and facility owners negotiate the leases for many, if not all, of the venues which were built in North America during the 1990s and beyond. We annually hosted conferences such as Sports Venues, Revenues, and Values, which addressed sports facility legal issues, as well as Sports Dollars and Cents, which examined sports employment and endorsement agreements. Internationally, the NSLI served as an inspiration for sports law learning. Some of the partnerships we fostered included the Anglia Ruskin University Sports Law Program, based in Chelmsford, England, the Australian and New Zealand Sports Law Association, the Griffith University Sports Law Program, based in Brisbane, Australia, the University of Cape Town and the University of Johannesburg Sports Law Initiatives in South Africa, along with the Asser Institute based in The Hague in the Netherlands. These relationships resulted in splendid initiatives that mutually benefited all who were involved. The Master of the Game Award was created here during this time and recognized sports-based achievements and community leadership. Recipients of this award included Hank Aaron of the Milwaukee Braves and later the Atlanta Braves, Bart Starr and Bob Harlan of the Green Bay Packers, and Marquette's very own Al McGuire. Success is often measured by whether one left a place better as compared to one's initial arrival. Given the foregoing, the NSLI has offered internationally recognized sports law education during the last 35 years and forged mutually beneficial relationships for all who were motivated by the pursuit of excellence. I'd like to speak directly to the students gathered here today. I point your attention to a call to pursue servant leadership. Before I conclude my remarks this afternoon, and as the students are persisting towards earning your degree here from Marquette Law School, please contemplate the following 4 questions. Number 1, what do you stand for? Number 2, do you believe in anything worthwhile? Third, are you willing to leave a legacy in the service of others? And 4, what is your approach to that of excellence? As each student reflects upon these inquiries, please be aware and continue to keep in mind that each and every student has also been blessed and invited to live the vision statement of Marquette University. The Marquette University vision statement provides in pertinent part, and I quote, to reach beyond traditional academic boundaries and embrace new and collaborative methods of teaching, learning, research, and service in an inclusive environment. The application of this vision statement, along with our commitment to excellence, has been guided by the prolific learning approach and teaching practices of the Society of Jesus, which was established in 1540 by St. Ignatius Loyola. Similarly, our application of the vision statement, along with our commitment to excellence, has been inspired by the fortitude of Father Jacques Marquette, Society of Jesus, 1637 to 1675, who was a French missionary and explorer of North America. With respect to the practical application of living the vision statement, I humbly offer some instruction and advice. Be aware that the constant companion of vision is that of adversity. Further, one should be motivated when embarking on this journey. Motivation comes solely from within. When motivation starts to wane, and it is inevitable, discipline kicks in. The origin of discipline is that of faith. I believe. I believe. I believe. When success has emerged in connection with vision, give glory to God, as well as share and share alike. When adversity strikes, learn from it and remain steadfast and persistent. This approach shapes one's identity and teaches us to effectively manage one's fears. All in all, it is a choice. Does one become a fighter or does one become a victim? Ask these two questions on a regular and ongoing basis while students here at Marquette Law School. First, who am I? Second, what am I doing here? An effective response will start to emerge from these set of circumstances. In sum, all possess the ability to truly live the Marquette tagline, be the difference. In this regard, each student is merely limited by intellect, creativity, grit, and the growth mindset in connection with fulfilling individual dreams for success and making our communities better now and into the future. The foregoing are the lessons learned relative to my direct experience with inspiration, choice, and the pursuit of excellence that I have been blessed with during my 35 years of being associated with the National Sports Law Institute of Marquette University Law School. Thank you for the invitation to share my reflections with one and all here this afternoon. I wish everybody much continued success and better tomorrows. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your attention. I now invite Paul Anderson to return to the podium regarding the next portion of our program scheduled for this afternoon. Thank you once again. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Jim. What we're going to do now, you saw the paper outside. And, well, two things about this picture. First of all, yes, I do want all of you in the picture. Remember, if you're in this room, I invited you to be in this room. So I wouldn't invite you and say, by the way, half of you, if you could stay in here while we take a nice picture. So yes, please, you're all part of what we're doing. The reason we do this picture, well, one, we've only done it twice. This will be our third time because we weren't in this building yet. We didn't have the way to do it. But two, this sports law program is you. It's the people in the sports law program. It's not this logo, it's the people. So I like to have a representation of those people every 5 years. But it really is important. What we will do, you notice the paper out there. There are not, I think there are 100, some of you, there are not 100 pieces of paper. But try to line up in some of those shapes. Pick up the paper. Eric, Monica, and I will come and throw the paper out. Mike will be upstairs, he's going to get the lighting done and all that. And then we'll start just molding you, moving you, whatever we need to do to get it into a 35. After that, once he tells us it worked, he'll send us all in the reception for the cafe. So please head out, and we'll see how this works.